My favorite holiday's coming up, April 1st, so I thought I would talk about pranks you can pull on hiking trips. So, oh look, speaking of pranks, look at that. I didn't know there was like, those are some big droppings. Might be like moose or something around there. I didn't know there's anything like that. So if you find some droppings, it's good to smell them, feel them, and taste them. Yeah, definitely moose. All right, let's go. All right, that was a very poor execution of the old milk dud prank. You can use Raisinets or chocolate covered peanuts or to imitate whatever species is around. There's no moose around where I'm at, but oh well. So, today's topic, pranks you can pull on the trail. So there's some ground rules when you do this because you can't be detrimental to your hiking partners. You don't want them pissed off at you the whole trip. Can't be dangerous. That eliminates all the fun jokes, but here are some I've pulled and some I've always wanted to pull. So back when I was 20 years old, I once put about a 10-pound rock in a friend's backpack on the way out on about a 15-mile hike out. We got back, drove home, and the phone rang about an hour after we got home. It was my friend. And all I got was an FU and a hang-up. So that's why I have the ground rules. He spoke to me eventually and even went hiking with me again, but we both had to search through our packs pretty regularly after that. So a variation of that trick is instead of a rock at the start of a trail, you slip as many beers as you think you can get away with in cans, not bottles obviously, into your friends' backpacks when they're not looking. Maybe you'll have to carry them and part way yourself and then during a break slip them into their packs. They'll be pissed at first, but when they see they got a beer and they're out in the middle of nowhere, they'll actually be happy about it. So that's a pretty good one. And I have pulled that one successfully, and it always has a happy ending. One of the best ones I ever pulled was we were out with a bunch of people. I was even more immature as a younger man than I am now. And we had a couple come with us that were in the new stages of their romance. So they made a point of setting their tent aside. They were rookies, hadn't really backpacked before. So we started talking about the bears. Actually bears were pretty bad back then in the Sierra. This is before the canister days. So we told them, you know, if you hear a bear, just don't say a word and stay perfectly still. A lot of times they'll brush up against your tents and they'll paw around out there and you'll hear noises. Just don't say anything. If you say anything, you'll be in trouble. If you make any noises, just be perfectly still and quiet, and they'll eventually go away. So what we did before they went to bed, we tied a big 50-foot nylon cord to one of their tent poles and waited till we had to go to bed. And throughout the night, whenever anybody had to get up to relieve themselves, they went over and grabbed that cord and started yanking on it. And in the morning, they were like, we didn't sleep at all. We were going, yeah, you play along. Yeah, the bears were everywhere last night. They were brushed up against my tent constantly. I don't think we ever told them. It was pretty mean, but we had a good laugh about that one. So I also pulled that one on a buddy. He had a brand new tent. It was a particularly cold night, probably one of the coldest nights I ever spent this year. It was 0 degrees in Truckee, and we were higher than Truckee. And he had a brand new tent, and I did the old rope trick on his tent. Being so cold out, it was 0 degrees out. He wasn't going to come out to check anything. And so when we went to bed, I started yanking on my rope, and he started cursing. I thought figured it was me, but he thought it was the wind. This piece of crap tent. I did read some reviews that it was terrible in wind, and now I'm sorry I even had this thing. They went on for an hour. I was just practically pulling the tent down. He was sitting there cursing. He got mad, but anyway, back to ones that are actually more innocent, but they can be fun. This is one you can pull at the trailhead. Typically everybody's lubing up at the trailhead with sunscreen. You should be if you're up in the Sierra. So it's not uncommon to have a big old gob of sunscreen and kind of pass it out, and everybody just kind of grabs it and starts wiping it on everything. So a lot of times I'll bring like little packages of mayonnaise for the first day on the trail. I'll actually make real sandwiches out in the trail. So I'll just have the little disposable ones you get at the fast food restaurants. So what you do, you squirt one of those out into your palm of your hands, and maybe you have some real sunscreen next to it somewhere, and you're spreading that on yourself, and anybody needs some sunscreen. And it works really well, and half the people will spread it all over their face and think it smells a little weird. But you got to do this one at the trailhead, because then they can go down to the creek or the lake and wash off. So here's one that will drive people nuts. You get some little bells, and again, you probably have to sneak these in on the trail at the first break or something, and stash them in a spot in their pack, maybe at the bottom of their water bottle sleeve or something. And so on every step, these bells will just be ringing. It'll drive them frickin' nuts. But you don't hear the bells. Everybody else says, I don't hear anything. So that one's good for a laugh. But here's one I haven't tried. I found this one on the internet. It's called Scary Eyes. And what you do, get some reflective tape and cut it out into a circle. Preferably an oblong circle. They look more evil. And anybody that's camped a lot or backpacked a lot, you always see eyes off in the distance. And this is a variation of that. In fact, I remember when me and my daughter finished our JMT hike, we started at Crabtree Meadows at midnight and started hiking by headlamp. And she was constantly getting freaked out. There were deer everywhere. I mean, we assume they were deer. You hope they're not a mountain lion or something. So if you look around, you'll see these eyes looking back at you everywhere. And I was just looking down the trail, but you hope it's not a mountain lion or a bear or something. But a lot of times in camp, coyotes, if you're down in coyote country, they'll be kind of circling your camp, and you'll shine your light. You can't see an animal, but you'll just see the reflections of their eyes. So you can take your reflective tape while you're off relieving yourself or something from your buddies at night. Go stick a couple of these eyeballs on a couple of trees around camp. And then when you're around the campfire or sitting around camp, go, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Shine your light out there, and they'll see the eyes. And you tell some scary stories before that, whatever. I'm going to try that on my next trip. I think it'll work. And then you can go out and be the brave one and explore, and go out and make up a story about, oh, I chased it away, it ran away, whatever it was. Then you can retrieve your eyeballs. Don't leave them out there. You got to take those with you. Leave no trace. So then you can pull it again the next night because you've retrieved your eyeballs. So this is one I use as a parks worker. If we have any gold spray paint around, I like to spray paint little pea gravel size rocks gold. And then you spread those around the playground, rocks and stuff, and kids go nuts. Look, I found gold. Works the same way on the trail. At your water stop or something, throw a few of those rocks in the creek that are gold colored, and one of your friends will think they struck it rich. So, kind of evil. The other ones, there's ones like you can do variations of the old kick me gag that you put on somebody's back, but you can put something on somebody's backpack. It could be something really embarrassing, but you'd be surprised. People don't look at the back of their backpack, even at breaks. You drop it so you can put it right back on. You don't look at the back of it, so you can slip something on there. This works good on busy trails like the JMT where people are going to see it. So if you have a grandma that has to use Depends or something like that, again, it can't have a lot of weight, but you can use the packaging. You know, adult Depends diapers would be a great thing to stick on somebody's backpack, or something from the adult store, or be creative. So that one's pretty funny. And one that works, you can involve others, strangers, if you see people on the trail. This is one I pulled one time going up Forester Pass. Some people about 5 miles back were waiting to get a message to some hikers that had started at Whitney Portal, and they're coming down Forester Pass. So they wanted us to relay this message to these people. So sure enough, we were coming right up to the pass, and here come the people down the pass, and we knew their names. So I pretended that I was this kid. He was like a 12-year-old kid. And I said, don't you remember me? I was your second grade teacher. You know, Kevin, you don't remember me? Yeah, you really like math. And I knew the dad's name, and they were going, oh, they played along and acted like they knew me. Like, no, I'm just relaying a message for you guys. But you can do stuff like that when if you're in a big group and you get spread out. It's fun to tell the person, people coming the other way, if they'll play along, to just say hello by name to somebody that's like a half a mile behind you, you know, and just say, hey, hello Lisa, hello Fred, and just keep walking. Or else you can tell them embarrassing stuff about them, like, how's that appendectomy scar doing, Fred, or something that they wouldn't know. They'll catch on eventually that you're telling people ahead on the trail. But this is one that works kind of good at break stops too. You stop where other people are. This is if you're with people that are inexperienced. And we've all had that feeling when you're coming out on a long hike, even though you're 99% sure you're on the right trail. You always have this feeling if you took the right turn at that last junction. It's like, I sure hope I'm ready to be at the car. We got to be in the right place. So you play along with that at the end of a long day. You pull out a map. You can even bring a map that's similar, that maybe has a lake that you're going to stop at, and it can be a wrong map. Or stop where some other people are and start chatting them up, and then kind of whisper to somebody and say, hey, can you play along with this joke? And say we took a wrong turn 5 miles ago and that we're totally way off and we're like 10 miles from our exit trailhead. And then you can go, hey, do you guys know where we're at? And they go, oh, you're way off. And then people freak. It's like, oh my God, we got like 10 more miles, I'm gonna die. So yes, I have a mean streak in me. So that one's a good one. There is one more joke that I have never pulled that I've always wanted to pull. It's one of my favorite things on the internet. I crack up hysterically every time I watch it. Google this. I'll put a link in the video description. The flextrex 37 trillion. These guys make this fake backpack that's like 20 feet tall with PVC pipe and black plastic garbage bags, and they have all these bottles hanging off. It's a ridiculous pack. And we've talked about doing this, but we've never got around to doing it. It'd be great for the first stretch between in Yosemite, Happy Isles, to Tuolumne or something. Do a smaller version. But watch this video. It should have millions of views, but it doesn't. The flextrex 37 trillion. I always wanted to make a smaller one with some PVC pipe and just have this huge, massive pack. But it's just a frame with some plastic bags. It might add a couple of pounds, and somewhere where you're going to have a lot of crowds. And I always just thought it'd be hilarious to be walking up the trail with a ridiculous pack like that. At one time, going up that trail, I ran into this German family. Germans are notorious hardcore backpackers. And it was a dad, his 2 kids, and his wife. And the guy had the biggest, it was like the flextrex 37 trillion. That's what it reminds me of that. He had 4 backpacks strapped to his back. He was just this beast of a man. And he was carrying everything, and the kids and the wife were just cruising down the trail with day packs. And he was happy as could be, but he was beefy. It looks like he'd been doing that a lot. So I would love to hear other people's ideas. Give me some good jokes. But remember, they can't be mean, and you can't have the people pissed off at you the whole time. So happy April Fool's Day, and happy trails, and thanks for watching.